Yo, what's good guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make high energy dark samples for somebody like Lil Durk or Meek Mill. The sample is from a sample pack that I just dropped recently called Nightfall Volume 2. The sample pack contains 20 dark high energy samples similar to this one with 20 bonus midis. I'll go ahead and leave a link down in the description for that if you're interested. But as always, I'm just going to go through and break down everything I did to make the sample, from the sound selection, the MIDI, the effects, and just my general thought process towards everything that I did to make it. So hopefully you guys can learn something, or at the very least feel inspired in some way just by watching my process. Also, real quick, just wanted to mention that I recently started up a weekly sample or MIDI and starter subscription. It's a monthly subscription that gives you access to all of my samples or MIDIs and starters that I send out every week, along with a free kit download through Beatstars. So once again, I'll leave a link down in the description for that. But anyways, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and let's get right into it. Alright, so as you guys can see, I have the final sample pulled up here. The final sample is in D sharp minor, and as you can see, once I rendered it in as an audio file, I brought it down 2 semitones. So if the final sample is in D sharp and I pitched it down 2, that means that everything that we're going to be going over is in F minor. So all the midis and everything is going to be in F minor. We're at 149 BPM, so kind of a fast BPM. If you're trying to go for that Lil Durk or like Meek Mill fast-paced high energy vibe, you definitely want to have a higher BPM, like anywhere from 145 to like 160, 165. So yeah, we're at 149 BPM. Final sample is D sharp minor. I'm gonna just go ahead and play the final sample so you can hear how it sounds, and then go in and break everything down. Yeah, as you can hear, it's got a dark vibe for sure, and it's got a lot of energy, and it's broken down into sections with the little pad sound at the beginning, and then there's a kind of like a broken flute, like weird sound that comes in towards the end, and then the keys come back in. But anyways, I'm gonna just go through and show everything that I did to make it. Alright, so for this first sound, I have this preset pulled up from Arcus. Arcus is a really good contact bank for orchestral stuff. Got a lot of choirs, strings, brass, flutes. It just kind of combines all those different sounds into different combinations to make really interesting sounds or pads. Yeah, so I found this preset, and it kind of sounds like a pad or a choir. So I was just going through the whole plugin to find a sound that sounded good just to start with. And then, like I said, we're in F minor, so I started with the note at the root note. So a really simple chord, and then it's just repeating throughout the whole thing. Very repetitive, very simple. I'll go ahead and play how it sounds, just how it is. So this sound alone kind of created the base of the sample, and kind of, I would say, gave the sample a lot of its energy. For the effects, I just added halftime at 25%, and then I added some RC20 to add some detune, and then tremolator is what makes the sound go in and out, and it kind of adds that rhythm, which I think kind of adds that energy to the sample. And then I added a lot of reverb, and then an EQ to take out the lows. Alright, so the next sound that I used was just a piano from the Wire Pure. This is my go-to contact bank for pianos right here, and I used the dark preset. And I just laid down the same exact chord pattern from the pad, and then I just took this F note right here, duplicated it, and pitched it down 2 octaves to add a bass note. So yeah, a really simple chord progression, really repetitive, just like the choir. It kind of just follows that. with the extra bass note. And then I added some notes in between just to kind of add a little top line melody, really simple. I'll go ahead and play it. As you can see on the second half, it's pitched up an octave. Yeah, I'll go ahead and play it so you can hear how it sounds. Yeah, like I said, really repetitive, and I think the chords, the repetitive chords that just kind of hit on every bar, it just sounds very ominous, and it kind of adds to the energy a little bit more. Like you kind of feel like you're getting ready for war or something like that. It just sounds very dark and evil. So yeah, it sounded good with the choir. And then for the effects on the piano, I just added a little tape echo from Echo Boy, and then I added some of this reverb, or actually a lot of this reverb, and that was it. I didn't even EQ it. I left the bass note in there. And then as you can see here in the pattern, I have this first part, and then I have second part where everything is pitched up an octave. These notes right here are all pitched up an octave. And then I have a third part where the top line melody is taken out and it's only the chords. So just add some variation throughout the sample, just those little changes. Alright, for the next sound, I have this Gloomy strings preset from Arcus, the same contact library as the first sound that I showed. And as you can see, I laid down another really simple, really repetitive pattern with the same chord as the pad and the piano. So we're kind of manipulating the same exact chord, just in different ways. And I think doing that and adding layers to the same chord and then making it really repetitive, and along with the tremolator that gives the pad the rhythm, I think that's what creates the high energy vibe that we're going for. So as you can see, I have the same chord, just pitched way up here. And then the only thing that changes is this note right here. So it goes from a C note to a C sharp, back down to a C, and then up to a C sharp again. And then I just copied that over. And that kind of creates tension, these half notes. But yeah, I'll go ahead and play what the sound sounds like, and then I'll go into the effects. And then it just repeats over here. And then for the effects, the only thing that I added was some RC20 to add some detune to it. And that's pretty much it for that. Alright, so the next thing that I did is I added this little change up in the sample, as you can see right here. So I just showed the string that I have at the beginning of the sample, and then so I took that out, and then I added a new sound. Again, we're looking at Arcus from Contact, same Contact library. And I found this preset right here that sounded pretty good. It's almost like a broken, it sounds like a flute, but it's all like stuttery, and it's kind of sounds like a broken flute that I thought sounded pretty dope. So again, really simple pattern, and I'm messing with the half notes again. So we're at G sharp, goes down to G, up to G sharp, back down to G, and then just copy that over. So a really repetitive, really simple pattern, but again, intentionally messing with the half notes, kind of make it more of a dark vibe. I'll go ahead and play how it sounds just by itself. And then for the effects, I just added a 25% halftime, and that's it for the effects. Okay, the next thing that I did is I added this one shot right here. It's just an accent, it kind of sounds like a whistle. So I just pitched it down to make it fit the key of the sample, and I don't think I added any effects. And I just kind of added it in to kind of accent the sample and add kind of a unique sound. Once I had all the sounds that I wanted, I just arranged the sample how I wanted. So I have the pad sound going at the beginning with the piano and the top line, and then the top line drops out, and then that flute sound comes back in, and then the top line from the piano comes back in, and then I have kind of, I guess, where the verse would go, where it's just the piano chords and the choir, and then the pad comes back in, and then the top line comes back in, and then that's it for the sample. So yeah, I just rendered it out as an audio file and then brought it back in. Then, like I said, we were in F minor, and so I pitched it down 2 semitones. So we went from F down to D sharp minor, and then I put it to its own mixer track. and I added a little bit of fresh air to boost the highs and the high mids. And then I added some virtual tape machine. And then on the master, I just have a tremolator to add even more of that rhythm that I was talking about to the entire sample. So that creates even more energy. Then I have a compressor to compress the sound and make it sound more glued together. And then I have Maximus to boost the volume. Always have my samples peaking around -3 dB. And so yeah, that's pretty much it for the sample. That's kind of how I approach making a dark, high energy sample for somebody like Lil Durk or Meek Mill or maybe even like Lil Baby. So yeah, like I said, I'll leave a link down in the description for Nightfall Volume 2. Has 20 samples similar to this with 20 bonus midis. And yeah, so hopefully you learned something. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.